Evening, people, and welcome to BNR. Welcome to another Red Zone. Not good against Luton. It was a bad idea to lose against Toulouse, but Brentford was probably the worst fixture or the worst team to come up against today. And I'm not just talking about the weather. The weather was atrocious, but there were a lot of reasons why you didn't want to play a side like Brentford today. And it was a proper old-fashioned banana skin, considering the week that Liverpool fans have. From bananas to apples, these two are the two good ones. The bad one is enjoying a Diwali with happy families and his buddy, taking his buddy out, did he say, on a WhatsApp audio? But whatever he's doing, we wish everyone celebrating the joyous occasion a good evening and a really good time with the family and friends. But Gene, you were with Hadi today. How was he up in that main stand? He wasn't up in the news stand, but he was up in the Evans today. But he enjoyed it nevertheless.
Yeah, he did. He was in row 92 today because he's always sat in KK and he always looks at that big stand and he's always saying, "I want to go and watch a game up there." So I thought, okay, then today I'll take you to the Heavens. So yeah, to be fair, he enjoyed obviously with Salah scoring. That's his dream sort of come true when he scores 3-0. We win the game, so he goes on a happy man.
Sarib, how are we doing? What's going on?
I can't complain, man. It's a Sunday. Sunday is always a weird day, man. I don't like the feeling of Sunday, but when Liverpool play and we win, it always lightens the mood a bit, But apart from that, I'm all blessed, man. All blessed. Thank you.
Well, I'm getting a few comments about my hat. It's actually 100% wool, Gene. Were Liverpool at 100% today, would you say?
I'd say close to 100%, if I'm honest. There was a couple of players that I was not too keen on, but I think we're gonna go into the performance. But look, all in all, I'm not gonna put a damper on it. It was a good performance. So let's give him 100 today. We won the game, had 3 points. Can't really complain.
Sarib, you want to put a damper on things?
He loves to put a damper on things.
Not today, man. Not today, man. I've been
told. You better be a happy chappy today, lad.
I've been told to keep positive in it, so that's what I'm trying to do.
You've been busy trolling Arsenal fans, Sarib, I see.
Oh, these lot, yeah.
What's the story? What's happened there?
So basically, see how pre-season was talking about how Arsenal are going to be the closest to Manchester City, right? So they're second in the league, right? And you know how we have a big rivalry with Man City over the last couple of years. So I must have tweeted after we scored the third goal against Brentford, yeah. Normality resumed, and I tweeted the league table and I cut Arsenal out. And then Arsenal got the same points as us. I cut it out. And then Arsenal fans started cooking me. Oh, Liverpool back to being losers, back to being Man City's side pieces, back to doing this, all that. I'm like, guys, I'm just joking. I'm having a bit of fun. But they took it so serious, and I've got more quote tweets on it than likes, and that's a problem. Like, they took it so seriously. Anyways, man, Arsenal fans are too intense. I was just trolling.
He goes, Asim, have you got a white beard? Maybe a few white hair. But if Liverpool win the league, I'm sure. If Liverpool, it's last season. Liverpool put me through the mill. But as Sagir Seb, our very own Zeb says, serious talk, lads. No topi drama. I love the puns, as you know, and that's a good one. Let's come to you, Sarib. Let's come to the serious business. The lineup. Were there any surprises for you? All the talk has been this week about Shimikas. He's taken a lot of stick from people like myself as well. Let's be honest. Gomez, people wanted Gomez against a physical team like Brentford. But general thoughts on the lineup, were you happy with it?
I said it last week as well. I said it where maybe we need to play 4 attackers against Brentford, and he kind of basically did that with the Jota, Nunes, Salah, Gakpo. Obviously started a bit deeper, but and he gave Endo a shot, and that's what I wanted as well. So I was pretty content with it. From what is available, I think maybe Elliott for Gakpo, but I wasn't too fast. Gakpo was not poor today at all. But
why do you say that though? Because I see what you're saying. A team like Brentford, you want to keep the ball, keep it moving, but they're also a very, very physical side, Sarib. And do you think Gakpo provided a bit of extra physicality in midfield?
Maybe so, but I think it's more so that Brentford, they counter-attack. They're trying to counter-attack, because when teams come to Anfield, they sit behind the ball, and there were just blocks and blocks of players behind the ball. So I think having that extra attacker allowed us to cause more of a goal threat, which is why I think we scored three goals. And I think the last time we scored 3 goals was quite a while ago. So Yeah, so I think having Gakpo in there did give us a bit of a goal threat, but I think it left us a bit exposed to counter attacks, which we'll get onto a bit later. But no, from what the lineup was generally, I wasn't disimpressed by it at all.
Gene, was it the same for you? Shimikas, Gomez, Gakpo, Harvey Elliott. Did you want Gakpo up top? What were your general thoughts? Were you happy with it? I think Liverpool didn't have a lot of options because, as you can tell from the bench, there were a lot of kids on it.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, in terms of the lineup itself, like you mentioned, I'm more than too fussed with it. I've never been a fan of Gakpo in the 8, playing in that position, because I just haven't seen it click, or I've not seen it work this season. With Tsimikas starting, I was happy for him to start, and obviously I knew Endo was going to start in the 6th. But obviously, I think we are going to speak about the game a lot more. But I think what I wanted to concentrate on, Asim, is the two players that actually come in terms of Endo and Gakpo. I know Sarib said, they've had a good game, but for me personally, I don't think both of them had a good game, if I'm honest with you. And they're probably the two players that, for me, from what I saw today,
they had a good game, or they didn't?
They didn't, from what I saw. I thought Gakpo was on the periphery most of the game. 80 minutes. I think I counted. Somebody put a tweet up. I think he had 45 touches in the whole game. I think he was on for 83 minutes. He's a player, Asim, that I just don't think he's always involved, especially when he's playing in the 8. Yes, you see glimpses of burst of pace and a decent effort, but that's all I saw from Gakpo today. And in terms of Endo, I just don't think he's good enough in the 6. Asim, there's times where I feel as though he just gets bypassed. He doesn't have the recovery pace to win the ball back again. And I just think he's in struggle. I think he's not imposing enough. Especially when he's playing in a lone 6. Yes, he's neat and tidy on the ball. He's good at he might put a pass in early to, let's say, into the forward sort of line. But personally, I don't think he's both of them were that great, if I'm honest. But in terms of Matip, I thought Matip was brilliant today. He had a really good game. Obviously, with Kanata missing, there's always things. But to be fair to Matip, every time he's come in this season, I thought he plays really, really well, and he's done pretty well. And I thought today he played really, really well. He won the ball up high for us in terms of the first goal. Every time he received the ball, he's a player that can, he takes us further up the field very, very quickly. He's not relying on passing the ball. He's good enough to. We've seen it over the years. He's good enough to take the ball forward. But a question to you: what did you think of Endo's and Gakpo's performance?
Well, Drunk Vigo says the Endo Defense League, the far right. I've taken a lot of headlines this weekend. As you know, Gene, you were there at the protest yesterday. But these idiots made some headlines as well. But look, Endo, I've only seen a few of the sort of Twitter reaction. I'm not really seen the game again. As you know, I like to watch it again and just to sort of proper make a sort of some sort of analysis. But from what I saw today, I thought he wasn't the best. But I think in terms of his duels, he wasn't great at. He had that contentious decision for a red card, which I don't think was a red. Even though Brentford tried their best to get him sent off. It was a bad touch, and I don't think he went over the top. I don't think he went with the force that you were sort of supposed to get red for. And if you're going to still the images like you did with Curtis, like we've seen a few of the images in the Premier League, any still image will look a bad, tackle in today's game. But I don't think it was a red. But moving on to his performance, I thought he did the sort of little professional fouls well today. We've seen it in the yesteryears of Fabinho, Fernandinho at City, and all these sort of Mascherano, if you like, as well. These niggly fouls to stop the sort of rhythm of someone like a Brentford who are looking, for the counter attack, like Sarib said earlier. So I think he did that sort of well. He just sort of disrupted play a few times, and sort of he's a neat and tidy player. Is he Liverpool standard? Yeah, on the ball. Is he Liverpool standard? I don't think so. But going on to, I don't think it was a bad of a performance that was probably getting the reaction on Twitter.
No,
I don't think it was.
I think he gets scapegoated too much because obviously we had expectation of getting a 6 in the summer. So whenever someone has a bad game, there's always someone to blame. I think every club has that. I think Chelsea had it with Conor Gallagher before, but now they kind of stopped doing it. I think we have the same issue with Wataru Endo. I think Joe Gomez is the same whenever he plays. When a defense is full, we target Gomez ahead of anyone.
Yeah, but we do give the flowers to Gomez when he plays well.
Yeah, but the fan base, majority of the fans I see on when Gomez has a bad game and other defenders have a bad game, I see them absolutely slaughter Gomez. I don't think that's
in Endo's defense, since the EDL is busy today, in the chat, has he played 2 games in a row this season?
No, because
Not
I'll
league
be
games.
interested to see if he has.
Yeah,
no.
maybe look, it's a rhythm thing, Asim. It may be from what I've seen. And you can use the argument. I just feel as though Asim, I don't know, but every time I see him, like when there's a player like
Yeah.
say running onto him, I just feel as though they're gonna go past him, and I just don't think he's got the recovery pace to win
The game looks too quick for him whenever he
This is
plays.
what I'm saying. He doesn't have the pace to make the recoveries.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I thought that was going to be something that was, he might be able to provide us when we sort of signed him. But there's still, look, end of the day, we won 3-0 today. And yes, Vicky mentioned it. Look, forget the performance. We won and fine. Yeah. But when there's 2 players that, like a 6 that we don't really have coming in, I expect more from him. And obviously, look, you're probably going to speak about Gakpo as well, because he's another one that I'd want to talk about today.
We know Gakpo. I thought Gakpo. Look, I was having a discussion with Vicky as well, and a few of the others as well before the game, and before the team news came out as well. We were thinking where Gakpo is going to play. Is he going to play on the right hand side? Is he going to be in a 4-2-4, a 4-4-2? But I thought Liverpool are going to stick with this system because we've seen it before. He's played on the left of the midfield in previous matches. I think Chelsea was one first day of the season where he played in the left side of midfield, and that's where he played today. I keep an eye out on a little hints in the warm up, and that's where he was warming up from the left. So I thought, okay, fine. If he's going to play on the left, he gives us a goal threat. His strength is cutting in and having to pop a few sort of shots early on in the game. But it's all about him in deeper areas, either in possession and out of possession. I thought in possession, he was playing the Curtis Jones role at times today, especially in the first half, where he was allowing, and Klopp was deliberately telling him to come deeper, so it allowed Shimikas to come a bit higher. And I think it sort of suited Shimikas with the way he's been playing recently as well. It took a bit of responsibility off his shoulders to play the ball on the halfway line rather than in the first phase of build-up. Gakpo was physical. He's got a good touch. And even though he wasn't receiving the ball, he was occupying, people around him and dragging the defenders out. They were in a 5-3-2 shape today. They were organized. They were resilient. We knew what Brentford were going to do. But I think Gakpo played that role, really well, generally speaking. It was an unselfish type of role, but, it did occupy players. But in terms of Gakpo as the guy who's going to come and play in the pivot in a 4-4-2 off the ball alongside Hendo, then that's not his strength, especially in turnover. He doesn't want to be on the edge of the Brentford box because that's not his strength. He wants to be on the other side. But that was my worry. But generally speaking, I thought against a team like Brentford, where you have to not only win the first ball, you have to win the second ball, you have to win the third ball, because for about 10-15 seconds, for so many occasions today, the ball was in the air because that's their style. Honestly, I don't want to call them a rugby team, but they do play the football in the clouds for the most of the day. And that's their strength. They've got a big physical side and they wanted to sort of rough us up. But I thought Liverpool rolled their sleeves up today and they made a battle of it. And the wind and the rain contributed to today's game. But I thought Liverpool put a shift in today. And that was the type of performance we needed. Not many teams, whether you're at home or away, Sarib, are going to roll over Brentford because they're just not simply, sort of set up for that. They don't have a manager who's going to allow them to roll over, whether it's at Anfield or even their ground. They're a professional outfit, and it showed today.
No, you're right. I agree with everything you said there about Brentford being physical. We made it, but the main thing is we got the 3 points. We made it difficult for them. But it's Anfield. I think in the last year, I think in the league, it's only 1 loss in the last, 20 odd games in the league at Anfield. So our record there is pretty good. I think anything other than a win against Brentford would have been a bit of a poor result, especially after last week's result at Luton. But no, Brentford are a very, very tough team. We saw that when they came in last season as well. We did play with 4 attackers that game too, and we only got 1-0. So today was a very impressive performance from Liverpool. And it shows how we've improved from last season. It shows the quality we have in attack now as well, and the options that we have available to us, even with a kind of closed off squad with injuries and niggles that we have. But I was very, very impressed overall with Liverpool. I was very impressed with certain individuals that we'll get onto a bit later. But generally speaking, like you said, not many teams roll over Brentford. I think United had a few troubles with them. couple of weeks ago as well. They needed to.
Didn't they score 2 goals in the last 2 minutes?
Yeah. So look, and they beat City last season. They beat City last season at the Etihad before the World Cup around the same time. So, well, I do give credit to Brentford. They don't have their best player available at the moment. They're still playing pretty well. So credit to Brentford and credit to Thomas Frank. Very good coach.
Gene, the manager singled out Darwin for special praise in the press conference, so we're going to stick to that theme. We're going to single out Darwin Núñez at the start of the show. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, arguably our best player, at least for the first 45. Was his first 45 performance good enough to get him the man of the match award for you?
He was close to the man of the match award. He was electrifying the first 45, Asim. He was brilliant every time. And, there was an instance in the game, I think it was towards the corner flag where, the game looked like it was a bit dead. The crowd was a bit dead. And he ran towards it. He closed that player down, won the ball. And, and you could see that was the sort of like jigging up the sort of fans as well, saying, look, come on, let's go again sort of thing. And, he was very, very unlucky not to score today. One was obviously marginally offside, 2 good finishes, a brilliant assist for Salah's goal. And he's just a constant threat. Yes, he missed an absolute sitter in it last week. We know that, and he probably did cost us the points. But this is what you're going to get with Núñez. Today, he was electrifying. And to be fair, this is, I'm just looking forward. I was praying for him to get his goal because, I just felt as though if he could get a goal today, he moves on to the next game with the international break. It gives you that massive lift that he's a confident sort of player. So, he gives you that massive lift. But what an electrifying performance. And you mentioned the man of the match. Look, there's a couple of players. For me, it was Van Dijk. I just thought Van Dijk was imperious, and you're going to speak about, and we want to speak about when we go talk about man of the match performances. But as with Núñez, Asim, he was just unbelievable. More so the first 45.
Sarib, what did you make of the big man up front? I think you can see Klopp talking about it in the presser now. I think I've only sort of seen some quotations on Twitter, but he's talking about Darwin, the connector. Darwin wasn't a connector last season. He is now.
Yeah, I think you made a good point as well last week about like he does these first against Bournemouth. He was doing a few first-time passes, and even today the way he was linking play, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was like, this is like Bobby Firmino. We got Bobby Firmino in there, but not his off the ball work is very, very good. He presses really high. He works for the team. I think there was one where it was near the touchline, and I can't remember the player, but he got the ball back and he just clattered into him, and I think it was a tackle, and he just was G'd up the crowd. He's like, come on, he G'd up the crowd, and that's what we want from him, and he does that. So he's a very passionate player. He leaves his heart on the pitch. And Darwin Núñez, what can we say? Cheen said he was going to have a big season. Cheen said that's the man to take us to the top, and credit to Cheen. Cheen was the one giving him all, saying Núñez this, and I was the one saying no. So I'm giving my hats off to Cheen, and I've already taken my hat off to you, Cheen, already.
Gucci he says, evening gents, and I think it's a good opportunity to ask people to smash a like, comment, and let us know what your thoughts about the game are today and all that good stuff. Gene, Darwin Núñez, is he one of the most important players that we have got at the club now? Was he always supposed to be this striker? Is he the finished article, or would you agree with Klopp that there's a lot more to come?
Oh, 100%. There's a lot more to come, Asim. There's so many facets of his game that will improve. First and foremost, his finishing. We all know in terms of his chances. Yes, he misses chances, but there's so much that we can see in terms of Darwin Núñez, where he can go in, let's say, the next 18 months. His finishing, Asim, his interlink play, although it's improved, it can still get. It can still improve. I'm not saying get to the level of Harry Kane, but even if he improves it a little, gets where he's linking more, he can be able to spray passes out wide, and that's that type of play, switch plays as well, and that will come in time. And Shu mentioned spending 10 days with Bielsa will hopefully capitalize against City. Look, for me, missing him not scoring in this game will hopefully revitalize him, and he will actually want to go out against City and get us that goal. But he's vital in our play right now. He's vital for him to start, because when he can start in that 9, he is the focal point. He will occupy more defenders. That will allow Salah to get a lot more space. He allow Salah to go one-on-one with the defenders, one-on-one with his defender, rather than other players helping their defenders sort of out. But all in all, I say we've got a player that Right now, he will miss chances, but boy, he's in confident mood. And in terms of firing us to the title, it's a bit early, but his ceiling is so high that we saw what Klopp did with Lewandowski. For Lewandowski used to miss chances was when he was young, and in the next year or two, if Darwin can show that composure, and we've seen it over the last 6 months. He's made a massive leap in the last 6 months. If he can continue improving, especially with the coaching that he's receiving, there's at least 2 levels that he can increase by. And if we get to that level and we see a Darwin Núñez that is 2 levels ahead of what he is right now, boy, we've got a player on our hands.
Yeah, and Sarib, you have to understand that. You mentioned Bobby. It felt like you were watching Bobby, and Bobby was the ultimate the counter presser. But it just shows you time on the field, time in the city, learning the language, learning his sort of how his colleagues and how his manager wants him to play. This is a player that was completely raw, as the chat is saying. But now you're even seeing that not just on the ball, off the ball, he knows when to go, when to stay, when to cover shadow, when to press. And you mentioned Bobby Firmino. Obviously, he's not that Bobby like yet, but he is going to be that complete striker for us, because just like Klopp said today, his work rate was insane. And the beauty about the fluidity about our attack, just like we saw today, he'd come to the right, he'd come to the left, and it'd also allow the likes of Gakpo to run into the vacated space, because he can play that role as well. So there are benefits of playing versatile players all over the pitch, and you saw it today.
And that's the beauty of the players that we have available to us. And we've spoke about it so many times on the show, the beauty of our attacking players, that they can play in so many different positions. That's one thing I really like about Klopp. He likes to sign players that can do a majority of roles. Like Gakpo can play left to right, up front, just behind the striker, in the midfield three. Now we've seen Núñez off the left, we see last season, can play up front again. Diogo Jota, and I want to get onto Diogo Jota, and this ties into very, very closely with Darwin Núñez. Whenever those two play together, and I'm starting to see it more and more, the link up between Jota and Núñez is becoming more and more prominent. Like whenever those two are on the pitch, we are scoring goals, and we tend to win. I think we have I don't know what it is. I saw a stat about our win percentage with Núñez and Jota in the 11 is higher than any other. Núñez Jota is higher than any other attacker that we have with Núñez playing. So I think a lot of people were saying Jota is one of those players where is he really going to fit into Liverpool? If an offer comes in for him, would you get rid of him? But no, like he's literally scoring every single game off the bench, whether he's starting, he contributes very, very well. And I think that's what we needed. We needed the chemistry of some players, needed time to gel in, and Núñez has had that time now. Jota's had that time now. And I think the left wing slot is his. I don't think anyone can take that away from him. I think that's nailed down. Luis Diaz is going to have a problem getting back to this team, because if there's a player that's scoring, I think Jota's scoring 1 and 2 this season. If there's a player scoring 1 and 2 this season, why drop him?
But I think with Jota playing, then you do need like a proper conventional fullback. I think if Jota plays and Gomez plays, Sarib, then we might have a problem, because we've got too many people who want to play inside. No. We don't have the width. Diaz provides us that natural width on the touchline. Jota doesn't like to do it, and he likes to sort of alternate and sort of interchange with the left-sided midfielder, whether that be Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, or even Curtis Jones. I think that gives us really good balance. Diaz and Curtis Jones, I think, gives us good balance and good control. But there are other facets, like Chino was saying, whether it's Jota, whether it's Núñez even coming to that left-hand side. Liverpool have unpredictability about them this year. And whether you've seen Thomas Frank or good teams come up at Anfield, but we do have a plan against them. And we've got that control. And I thought it took us about 25 minutes to work them out today, Chin, because they were... I think that I thought, I think it was around about 10, 15 minutes where they had a free kick on the halfway line, and the goalkeeper came up to take it and launch it into the box. I thought we were going to be in for one of those afternoons today, but Liverpool took about 20 to 25 minutes to work them out and kept them shifting that 5 at the back. And we created opportunities. We created opportunities last week against Luton as well. Liverpool have got the creators this season, Gene. We just need to be patient.
Yeah, and look, Asim, in terms of last week, I just thought, it's okay to be patient, but then you've got to, when the chance sort of comes, you have to take it. And I think that was the issue last week. We just didn't take our chances. When the chances fell today, we took them, and that was the difference. Look, Brentford, I watched the first 20 minutes. Yes, we didn't create loads, but we had a load of possession, so we knew it was going to come. We had to wear them down. I thought, after that 20 minutes, Asim, I thought we were brilliant. Second half, we squeezed them, we suffocated them, and they couldn't get out, and they didn't really create much. Yes, in the first half, that there was that Mbemo chance with a fantastic ball and a brilliant save from Alisson, and I think they had that one where I think Trent miscontrolled it and Mbemo hit it just over the bar. They were the two sort of main chances that I thought that they had, especially on the counter. But generally speaking, in terms of possession, we looked good. We looked like a side that was in control, more so the second half. But look, it just took us a bit of time getting going. Is that a worry for me? Look, I just hate the first 15 minutes of every game, Asim. And I'll be honest, if we don't score, I don't like it. I just feel as though I know it's nerves or all whatever it is, but because we've been conceding, I just want the first 15 to go, and then I know, okay, we're good to go. We will, we'll the game will put to bed. But again, look, we had a scare, but we were okay. We carried on. But one thing I will call out is Alisson gives me he shits me up so many times, especially today. The ball. And I just thought, what are you doing? You're gonna lose it. You're gonna lose it. But I think he's sort of did okay. And then in the second half, I know he did that little drag back as well when he played the ball to the left back. So fair play.
Achilles and slips and Alisson, but it wouldn't be a Liverpool type of performance, Sarib, if we didn't have an Alisson moment. Every single game, the cop has to chant his name because have you ever seen a keeper that is actually favourite when he comes up in like one-on-one situations? I was growing up as a kid, maybe before your time, Sari, where you were sort of used to seeing Ian Wright go through the goal with Schmeichel being big and, as a proper presence in those 90s, during the 90s. But I think after that, I have not seen a keeper who is the favourite in those situations. And, Mbemo, I think it was going wide, but because they look up and they see Alisson, they probably think they have to do something extra cute or extra, something different to beat that big man in net. But week in, week out, we see something special.
What a keeper, man. What a keeper. We hit the jackpot with Alisson. He was the start of us winning all the trophies. And that's where that was the signing that took us to the Champions League. That was the signing that took us to the Premier League title. Yeah, it was well and good having Salah, Van Dijk, but this goalkeeper right here, he is unbelievable. And arguably, I think he is, if not the most complete goalkeeper in Premier League history. Like he may not excel at going with his feet or with his hands, but as an all-round package, I don't think there's been anyone seen better in the Premier League. And obviously, you guys have watched. You lot a lot older than me. You've seen Schmeichel, Van der Sars, and Prime Czech, and all this. So you lot would know a lot better. But from what I've seen, from what I know, David De Gea was very, very good at shot stopping, but with his feet, he wasn't great. And Alisson's got the complete package in every single game. He saves us. Brentford had 16 odd shots today as well. And that's been the problem for us this season. But when we've got someone like Alisson, so commanding, so good one-on-one, you just know that's points in the bag. And Gary Neville spoke about it. I'm not Gary Neville, I'm sorry, by the way. But Gary Neville spoke about it. He goes, Alisson saving Liverpool, gets Liverpool point after point after point after point. He's a brilliant world-class goalkeeper. And he's brilliant, Alisson. And that signing that Klopp's made, I think that's Klopp's best ever signing. But it's up for debate. But I think that's Klopp's greatest signing at Liverpool. You're both of you on mute, by the way.
Gene, would you agree with that? There's a few signings he's made.
Signings, I just thought, he's Salah, man. He's the king, man. And look, I get Alisson, and I understand it completely. But for me, Salah will always be Salah. But I get Sarib's point though. What about you? What do you think?
It's hard to disagree with Alisson, and it's hard to disagree with Salah. But I think, what Salah's achievements have been, you probably choose Salah in any category, whether it's his greatest player, it's his greatest signing, anything. It has to be the king. It has to be the king. But look, I see what Sarib is saying, because Alisson has talked about laying the foundations for Liverpool's success, and that's what he's done.
He's the glove of the team, man. That's what he is.
yes, Gene's learning the puns, man. He's probably got a book open over there. Well, that's a good segue into the king, Gene. I thought the first goal, Thomas Frank talked about it in his presser and said it's a signature Liverpool goal where we lose it and we win it through, I think it was Matip, and then that ball from Trent into Nunes, into his feet, and then the calmness, the composure, and the awareness that Darwin showed that Salah is around the corner. And what a touch and what a finish from the Egyptian king.
it's typical Salah, isn't it, in that position? But the build up for the goal, as you mentioned, it was fantastic to win the ball up that high. That cute quick pass from Trent into Darwin, brilliant little reverse sort of pass, and then a brilliant finish. And this is what you get with Salah. He's a monster of a footballer, and we don't even know where do you want us to start with Salah Simon and finish with him. He's probably one of the greatest players to have ever played for this football club. For me, probably the greatest for me anyway. He's the greatest player in the Premier era. But this is what you give you. And Thomas Frank, I heard his interview an hour ago when I got back. Look, that's the sort of praise that he gets, and even he mentioned he doesn't get enough praise. And this is why we should talk more about Mohamed Salah everywhere we go, because he doesn't get the praise he deserves for whatever reason. I'm not going to go into the sort of reasons, but he deserves all the praise. We've got one of the greatest players. No, I'll be all right. I'll be all right depending on him. He's just a different breed of a footballer. And I saw a comment earlier, and he said that he's going to go in Jan. He's definitely going in Jan. I can tell you that. Summer, I just hope he signs that contract, because he does not need to be at the Saudi league right now. He's 31. He's at the prime of his career. This is Salah, who's built to go on for at least 5 or 6 years. And I want him to play for Liverpool. He can go to Saudi in 2 or 3 years' time. So Liverpool Football Club, get that contract out, give him whatever he wants. And Thiago's contract's coming to an end. I'm sure you can give him the 150 grand out of him and put it towards Salah for a couple of years.
Sarib, he's a player that when he came, you thought he's like a sort of amazing winger. He liked to sort of dribble the ball into areas and sort of lose the ball at times as well. But he's always, his sort of assist and chance creating skills has gone under the radar for many, many years now. And he's only been getting the plaudits from opposing fans over the last 12 to 18 months. But Liverpool fans have known this type of player for many, many years. And, loads of sort of internal debates used to break out about Salah, Mane, who's the better player. But most of the fan base I've always said Salah is the better footballer. And now you're seeing it. He's a player that hasn't relied and doesn't need to rely on his pace. He's not as quick as he used to be, but he's so clever. And week in, week out, we're seeing his amazing creative skills.
Man, what can we say about this guy? We sit on it. What can we say about Mohamed Salah? What a player. Face of the Premier League, assist, goals. He does everything. One of the best creators I've ever seen play for us as well. Definitely up there. And I think there's a stat I read. Since 17-18, I think there's only 2 players in the league that have more assists than Mo Salah. I think it's De Bruyne and Andy Robertson. One of them plays for Liverpool, and De Bruyne is De Bruyne. He's extraterrestrial. You don't count him. Mo Salah plays on the wing, so he's our main goal scorer, one of our main assists. I've not seen a player in the Premier League. I think Henry got 20 and 20. I've not seen a player like all round get that many goals and that many assists year in, year out. Unbelievable footballer, unbelievable. I might be missing some on top of my head, but as a whole package of goals and assists together, I don't think there's anyone better in the game than Mo Salah at the moment, mate. And I don't think
better than Henry.
No, I mean, I didn't watch Prime Henry now. That's before my time, but you lot can make the judgment on that. I don't want to. I've already triggered too many Arsenal fans today.
You'd rather make a night of it, Sarib. You'd rather make a night of it. Well, I think he's better than Henry.
I was just about to mention 200 goals now.
200 goals.
I think 2 for Chelsea in it, so 198 for us.
198 for us, 200 Premier League goals, 14 goal contributions already this year in 12 games, is it?
Yeah.
What is there left? Atiq says the problem is, as great as Salah is, only has 1 Champions League and 1 Premier League to show for it. Look, where do you draw the line? Does this define greatness? Sarib, someone like John O'Shea probably has got about 6-7 Premier League and Premier League. Gary Neville has probably got about 8-9. Salah's got only 1 Champions League, Premier League. And I think this is not just about Salah. You can go through the Liverpool team and the manager as well, that this team probably does deserve more. But the problem is a few miles down the road, you've got Guardiola and Manchester City to live with.
Never going to forgive him. I will never forget Guardiola.
And cheat.
And cheat, of course, but 151 charges to deal with as well.
That's what I'm saying. Look, Asim, if I'm honest with you, sorry.
No.
When you mentioned Henry and Salah, Look, we watched Henry in his prime, and he was an unbelievable footballer, and probably better in front of the eye, if I'm honest. And for me personally, and I've said it before, I think Salah needs one more of the big two. Personally, I think he needs
Yes,
one more
fair.
of the big two for Liverpool to say, okay, Mr. Henry, move a step aside, sort of now, and it's time. I get the
The
absolute
only,
time.
the only thing it's a bit unfair to. I understand why they do it. Obviously, you judge players on goals and assists and the collective trophies, etc. But I think it's very raw to just say that because Salah has won Premier League and one Champions League, he can't be defined as a world class, great player. His numbers are ridiculous, and there's many.
Everybody knows in terms of his numbers. I think sorry, I think everybody knows in terms of how great of a footballer he is. I don't think
Mm,
there's any question in terms of how good of a footballer he is. But when you sort of compare greats of, like, say, the Premier League era, yes, you are.
mm,
Let's say bar Gerrard Asim, he was probably the anomaly in terms of this, where he was. Everybody knew he didn't really win the Premier League, but it was, it's sort of standard that, he's arguably the best, the greatest
mm.
midfielder to played in the Prem. Yes, you people will say the Lampards, but a lot of the players have always, a lot of players and ex-players and managers have always said Jara's the best in terms of the league, but because everybody understood the weakness of his side.
Yeah.
Whereas now Liverpool, there is really okay, that's Man City, but we are the second. We've been the second best team in the world, or the first best team in the world for the last 4 or 5 years. Bar, let's say, a
Mm.
season. I can sort of understand it, why where the comparisons are, but Henry, I think he won 2 or 3, maybe 3 titles, or I don't know exactly the number, but he never won a Champions League. So I always feel if Salah gets one or the other, either one, I think he will go down as the greatest.
Fair enough. It's a bold show. Asim, you tell me.
Yeah. Look, I'm always Salah. Any category, whether it's his best signing, the best player in the Premier League, I don't care. Muhammad is one of our own, and I will always back our own. Simple as. But I think with this partnership, it's become a bit telepathic now with Nunes and Salah. I think Nunes, all of his assists, I think, are towards Mohamed Salah. We've seen Salah.
One recently, I
7
I think
assists.
7 assists to Salah. But it shows you this partnership, and maybe when Salah does, so if he does stick around, and maybe in a year or two, and we do replace him on the right hand side, can you see us sort of changing system in any way? Play a 4-4-2 up top? Can you see that, or is that asking for too much?
Gene?
Are you asking me? Asking Matu, you asking Sarib? No, look,
Anyone can take that.
in terms of the 4-4-2, I can't see a system change personally. I just think now, especially even more so with the Trent and Sobos, I think Salah isn't relying on always being the player going past. Sobos is making them runs. There is some sort of triangle sort of there where they, and they work it really, really well. There's times. Another thing which we've seen a lot is that run that Darwin Núñez makes and Salah plays it inside. He actually played the ball in this game as well, where I think the keeper saved it from Darwin. But now they are making it slightly easier for Salah in terms of we're not overly relying on him getting the ball on that wing and having to actually always go at the player and try and beat that player. Because yes, he probably doesn't have the pace of a couple of years ago, but now they're working in triangles, they're working in ways which is gonna enhance his game and enhance his ability to create. And that's why we're seeing a lot more in terms of his creation. So look, I genuinely can't see us changing from the system now. 4-4-2 as in nowadays in the modern day football.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand. Dazo is a super chat, our first super chat of the night. Thank you very much, Dazo. He says Mike Gordon might be retiring, then Herbal comes in. Sarib, have you seen? There's a Max Herbal. A few reports about him. I know we're going off topic, but let's cover the super chat because I think we're really bad at that, and we sometimes forget him as well. So let's get it out of the way. Any thoughts on this?
He's off to Bayern, no? I thought Bayern Munich were the ones in the lead for him. I think he does it. I think that I read something. I think David Lynch reported on. I think he said Herbal does appreciate the interest from Liverpool, but I think him being German, he is looking at the biggest club in Germany, larger transfer budget. They can spend their money on who they want. I think that's more attractive to him at this moment. But he does appreciate Liverpool interest. I haven't seen anything about Herbal. I think George Schmack, I think, is here till January, I believe. I could be wrong. I think it's a bit longer. But
I don't understand the link between Mike Gordon and.
Yeah, I don't know either. To be honest.
So Herbal, if he's going to come in, he's going to be the sporting director, isn't he?
Yeah. It's going to take over from Schmack, no?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Maybe Dazo's. I think that might be a typo. I don't know. Well, let's see. Where's he working from? Was he working from Greece or somewhere in the summer? Shmatka.
He
It
was
was on some
chilling.
island, Ibiza, wasn't it?
He was chilling out in Ibiza. He got
Yeah,
real fun to be there towards the end. So,
yeah.
but
Whatever he was doing on the beach, whatever he was doing, it was obviously working. So yeah, maybe he can. Maybe the new CEO. Yeah, maybe let's see what happens. But I think there's a few comments in the chat that's his probably favorite to go to Bayern Munich, and if they sort of lining him up, then I
Salah.
probably agree with him that he'll probably end up going there. Who else deserves? I think Van Dijk. I think Van Dijk's performance, not just today, guys. We've been talking about it. We've been waxing lyrical about Van Dijk's resurgence and how he's leading the team on and off the pitch. And today, Sarib, it was another unbelievable performance from the captain.
Imperious. The captain armband has revitalized Van Dijk. It's like he's just got this new sense of energy, this burst. He's got this hunger's back. Like there was one, like the ball was literally going in, and there's a Brentford player on the line. He somehow clears it over the bar, and Buemo was running through Van Dijk, that little burst of pace, which I saw a couple of years ago. It reminded me of, when Son was in on goal in the Champions League final, and he had that little burst, and he won that ball back. Done it to Buemo today. I was like, wow, we're literally watching Virgil van Dijk. And I don't know how so many rival fans and even Liverpool fans wrote him off, because the year before last, he came back from a big injury. Avi joins in quite well as well. But no, Van Dijk came back from an ACL injury, and he played every game possible for Liverpool during the season where we challenged for the quadruple. That's obviously going to take a lot out of a player, and especially in a year where there's going to be a lot of games with the World Cup being in the winter. His form of last season started to dip. I think he was just trying to protect himself. Obviously, I'm making excuses because I love Virgil van Dijk, but last season when it wasn't his greatest. But I think a lot of people exaggerate. I think after February onwards, I think he was very, very good, and he has been very, very good since then. But this season, he looks like the Van Dijk of him old. Obviously, he's never going to be the level of prime Van Dijk, 18, 19, 20 Van Dijk, but he's very, very close to his best, and he's been imperious this season, bar a few mishaps, especially the one against Newcastle, the red card. Absolutely brilliant. I can't tell you a Van Dijk error this season, to be honest. Top of my head, I can't. And that shows you how good he's been this season.
Yeah, I thought he'd make an appearance tonight. He always does. He says he's back next week, just in Brazil, talking with Andre tonight over some Brazilian steak.
oh yeah, with his mate Phil Vickers, American journalist. Yeah.
Yeah. Shaq says he's talking to Phil. He's talking to Phil. I thought he keeps telling us he's retired, but maybe Max Erbel won't come in. We might hire the chip. You never know. But Van Dijk, I think, Gene, whenever there was some question marks on Van Dijk, I think when you see the best of Van Dijk, you see the balance between him engaging with the defenders, having the right amount of aggressiveness, and then backing off. And just like those moments that Sarib mentioned, like the Champions League Son moment, and there was one moment with Mbemo today where you think, okay, Van Dijk is standing up the attacker and saying, if you're good enough, beat me. And if he isn't, he'll usher him towards away from the goal. And I think that is the best of Van Dijk. Getting the balance right is when to sit off and when to engage. And you saw another great example of it today.
Yeah, and look, I think last season, there was times where I actually questioned his arrogance, where I felt as though there was times where he was too arrogant. He felt as though the player wasn't, and then he got beat. But this, you're seeing a Van Dijk, Asim, that's focused. You're seeing a Van, and as I've mentioned it, he's a completely revitalized player, especially getting this armband. He knows he's the leader of this team. There's new players that have come in, and he's actually putting a benchmark sort of down that this is what's required to play for Liverpool Football Club. You have to be basically on it from the word go. And some of his passing today, that one ball, and I know one of the lads mentioned it, but honestly, the way, obviously, I was high up in the stands as him, and the noise of the ball when he struck it, you just knew it was going direct straight to Salah. It was just a beautifully hit ball, and fair play. Was he was imperious, like you guys have mentioned, arguably one of our players of the season so far. And I know, look, he is a player that he's another one I think we sort of take granted, because he's been at such a high level for so long that we just expect that level. So even when he dropped, let's say, his performance last season, now he's raised the bar again. A lot of fans will probably think, Saliba's better. or this defender's is probably the best defender in the Premier League. No, Van Dijk has proven to everybody why he is still the number one defender in the Premier League and arguably one of the best defenders in the world. So fair play to him, man. And I just love the guy. Every time, the way he reads the ball, the way he, I think there was 6 or 7 headed clearances that he had today. There was a couple of over the top. It was Van Dijk who got to that ball, and whoever's playing against him, he makes it so much easier for any other defender to play. Sorry, any to play with him.
Talking about that, the Van Dijk ping, Gene. I don't think we since the system change, when we go 3 at the back, when we've got the ball, I think because Van Dijk is the central centre back, I think we haven't seen it because the angles haven't been there. But I think when we've come up against a 5 at the back like today, I think when Liverpool have pushed the fullback on in Shimikas on the left hand side, it allows, when we go 2 at the back in possession, it allows Van Dijk to get towards the left hand side, and that's where the angle is created. I think obviously teams have tried to sort of usher the ball the way they press us is to make sure they go to Konate and Matip as well, rather than the ping out from Van Dijk to Salah or the other side as well. I think Arteta was talking about it a couple of years ago, maybe last year, saying we do everything and we get the press unbelievably correct. And then you've got a player in Van Dijk who plays a 70-yard ball, to Salah, and they're out of the press. So I think if we've got that in our arsenal, we've got that in our artillery, we can still, find Salah, and it helps us, with the likes of, Szoboszlai in deeper areas and Curtis Jones. We've still got that ball, and I think Gino's right. Some of the angles that he was creating today, the option is always there, and Salah obviously is always an option for Van Dijk, and it's just about creating those angles, and he will always find him because it's just not a one-off. He has got that pass in him. And how many times have we seen him? I think even at Celtic, he was hitting free kicks. Obviously, he's not at that level yet where he's taking free kicks ahead of Sobo and Trent. But that ping is a joy to watch when it's on, and on most occasion it's on. But I think we've covered most of the players. I think we have to touch on Jota's goal and how he took it, Sarib. The way he took it. And I think Jota is that kind of guy that we do need. You need Jota on most occasions, but against Brentford, and I know Jota normally scores the first goal rather than the third goal, but the way he's been playing recently, and I think against low blocks, he's got that low center of gravity, and just like Michael Owen, we've seen those mazy runs into the box, because once he goes, he's very, very hard to get. And I don't think it was that type of goal today. But I think his overall performance today, his work rate, his tenacity, his fluidity, and his relationship with his, Salah and Nunes that you mentioned earlier was a joy to watch. And I think it's very, very important, especially when Salah goes to the African Nations Cup. These boys are on form, because any team is going to miss someone like, Mohamed Salah.
Diogo Jota, I like Jota a lot, and obviously I've been very critical of him as well, because, and I think all of us have, I think most Liverpool fans have, that when he doesn't score, he ghosts during games. He can just coast through games doing absolutely nothing, and he's like kind of missing on the pitch. But today I thought he was very, very good. His link play was very, very good, and his goal again comes from the left-hand side. And I've always said I prefer Jota when he comes off the left-hand side. Tsimikas passing the ball, he cuts in onto his right foot and he just bashes it into the back of the net. Brilliant finish from Jota. And how many times have we said Jota is one of our best finishers? And we've got another comment here from Yusuf saying Jota is our best finisher. I would say I probably agree, because I think if you give Jota 5 chances and give the rest of the Liverpool attackers 5 chances, I think Jota's going to score the most goals, because if you put him through on goal, left foot, right foot, in the air, amazing. I don't think there's a player at our club better on both feet and in the air than Diogo Jota. And I think that's real credit to Diogo Jota. The only thing I think he needs to improve on is sometimes he goes missing in matches, and sometimes he can just he can coast with that, even if we've not even heard Jota's name and he gets substituted. And that's the problem with Jota, this consistency. Yeah, he's scoring 1 and 2, 1 and 3, and that's all well and good. But if you're not, I think being a Liverpool attacker, you need to do more than goals. You need to contribute the link-up play. You need to be able to press the ball. You need to be able to work for the team and do shifts for players that maybe are not available. So that's the only thing I need Jota needs to work on. But I think overall he was very, very good today with a brilliant goal. I think you two can add more to that. But I thought he was very, very good today, Jota. And he has been the last couple of weeks as well.
Yes.
Tari, what I'm encouraged about with when I see a fit Jota, when I see a Jota that's playing well, he's got that sort of acceleration, that
Yeah.
sort of change from first to second and second to third. I think that's what we're seeing, and that's the reason why we're seeing those little mazy runs into the box. When he comes back from injury, he takes a bit of time to get a rhythm, like any other player, does as well. But I think it takes him sort of a good month to get up to scratch. And when Jota is sort of, he's got that dynamism in his play, then when he's running into the box and he's got the ball at his feet, he's very, very hard to stop because he can change in direction in any way. How many times has he put the ball? I think he's probably better at finishing with his left foot than right foot. Honestly, the way he goes wide and goes across the goal with his left foot, it's becoming a signature finish. And today was obviously with a cut inside with his right foot, but I think he's got such a array of types of finishes that he's just dangerous in the box. And every team needs a Diogo Jota, every single team. And we're just gonna have to enjoy this attack because all 5 players bring something different to the table, and that's the beauty of the Liverpool attack. Muchin, thoughts about Diogo? It's a pity, it's a shame that Avi's not here today because we're asking him on a weekly basis, would you take that 60 million? So you can take that question today.
Honestly, I wouldn't sell him because he gives us something that none of our, let's say, our other 4 attackers give us, and that's a constant threat. Yes, of course, he's not, let's say, the most technical in terms of when he receives the ball and all that stuff, but he is direct. He gives us a direct route to goal. And when he's on song, and I've realized, I think there's a couple of times when, I think the Wolves game where Gomez played at left back where we struggled. Here, like you mentioned it, if he's got that runner going on his overlap, he is a constant threat. And today was brilliant. The way we're receiving the ball, the way he drops deep and picks up the ball as well. Yes, his interlinked play in terms of isn't the best, but what he gives us, nobody gives us, and he gives us goals. And that's, last season, our biggest gripe with him was he wasn't giving us the goals. I think he went through half a season without scoring them. But when they started to flow, we saw the flow sort of thing. This season, I think he's done well, especially over that 6 or 7 game. He's sort of scoring, as Sarib mentioned, a goal every 2 games. So, and that's what you expect, and that's what you want from Jota. He's not our traditional number 9, and he's still getting decent numbers in terms of goal threat. Look, this is why, and I think it'll always boil down to who we're playing in terms of what we want to do tactically. But he might give Klopp a problem if he starts in the next couple of games, and we've got a huge game. I think he won't start against City. I think Diaz starts against City, but it's a huge problem. It's a huge conundrum for Klopp who he starts. But it's a good
I don't think anyone has a clue. I don't think anyone has a clue after them boys coming from I think Darwin's coming back from Uruguay. Not Uruguay. Is he playing in Bolivia? He might be playing in Bolivia. So high altitude. Is he playing home or away? I'm sure the chat can. But they are playing Bolivia. It'd be interesting to see where they're playing. They're playing on Tuesday night. If they're playing in Bolivia in that high altitude, I don't know.
I think you go there and play, and we saw Alexis McAllister's performance when he came back, when he played in Bolivia, didn't we?
Yeah,
absolutely shocking. Taken off at halftime.
Yeah. Gina, there's another question for you. We like some random questions on here. Best halal place to eat in Keighley? You probably know Manchester better than Keighley now, but well, give him Tayaz the favorite place of yours in Keighley.
Look, whenever I come back to Keighley, I always go for a Baba's home to Bolivia. That's all. I always go to a Baba's Eastern Taste, get the fish masala and actually get the Jimmy's fish masala and chips. Yeah, cheeseburger. Make sure you get double with a bit of fish on it and a bit of doner. You get the full whack. You get the full chabang. Trust me, you won't go wrong.
Yeah, it's called Jimmy style, but it should be called like can't make your mind up. So if you can't make your mind up, that's the one to get Imtiaz. I think that's the wrap, boys. But just before we go, I want to probably touch on just quickly on Szoboszlai. He was probably getting a bit of stick on Twitter when I was scrolling down quickly whilst driving. I shouldn't confess, but Szoboszlai, I think we've been a bit spoiled from his sort of start to the Premier League and Liverpool career, Sarib, that every week we're expecting some wow moments from Szoboszlai. And I don't think that obviously that's the right expectation to have. when it comes to any sort of player, but especially when a guy's just been playing at the club for 3-4 months. But for me, I thought it was a really professional performance. And like I said, we shouldn't be expecting, wow moments. I thought he had a good game. He rolled his sleeves up. He's an integral part to our press. And whenever we lose the ball, he's the catalyst to the counter press as well. And it was a box to box performance for me anyway. But I was just a bit surprised to see a bit of stick towards the Hungarian.
I get that, but I don't really take his stick in a negative way. I think him getting stick is a good thing because we hold him to such a high level, and there's such high potential that we have with Dominic Szoboszlai. I think when he's abused, it's very, very different. And I saw a few people saying we're compared to Gerrard, and he's nothing better than a Hungarian John Joe Shelby. I'm like, it's a bit disrespectful. He's been there 12 games, been here 3 months almost. You're not going to expect him to light up the room every game. Like he's still a young player. People fail to understand he's 23 years old, 22, 23 years old. He's born in 2001. He's in the same school year as me, if you want to put it that way. And I'm here sitting talking about him, and he's there lighting up Anfield. But he's had a very, very good season. But sometimes he looks very, very tired. He looks a bit leggy. He's played a lot of games. He plays Thursdays. He plays Sundays. Klopp basically plays him in every single cup, every single game, and shows how vital he is for our team. He starts depressed. He wins the ball back in midfield. He reminds me of like Gini Wijnaldum, with a powerful Gini Wijnaldum, where he can just run. He's what Oxlade-Chamberlain should have been for us, like that power from midfield where he just picks up the ball, can run through a whole team with such power. I'm really impressed with Szoboszlai. Obviously, last week he wasn't great. Today might not have been his greatest, most wonderful Liverpool performance, but professionally he's very, very good. Professionally, he was very, very good. And he's
even the chat is quite mixed. Some are saying he's good. Some are saying he needs a rest.
No, I think he needs a rest. No,
Do you think he needs a rest?
Yeah, I think he does need a rest. He basically plays every single game for us, Dominic Szoboszlai.
Do you agree with this? Sleepy Forest says Klopp coached out the technical ability of Szoboszlai, just pace and power now.
Nonsense, absolute nonsense. Because Szoboszlai's role in the team is completely different. I think we're going to see him play off the right-hand side when Salah goes to the AFCON, and then that person there will shut his mouth. But no, absolutely not. I think his role is to win the ball back in midfield and kind of be that transition from our midfield to the attack. So that's his role. Are you going to really criticize a guy for doing his job? I don't think so. But no, I think Dominic Szoboszlai has a lot more to offer, and I think we'll see that over the next couple of years. He's still a very, very young player, and I think he's got a lot to offer for us.
I think people do forget the amount of ground he has to cover as well, especially on the right-hand side. Any player will need to provide a bit of protection towards Trent, who's inverting, and Salah, who's not going to do a shift like Mane on the other side that we've seen for many, many years, or even a shift like Diaz. So when you put those two sort of combinations together, Cheen, he is a player that is going to provide us some magical moments as well outside our box. But his sort of box to box, I do see what what Sleepy Forest is trying to say, but I think these sort of performances go unnoticed and they're underrated as well, because it's still a 7 out of 10 for me today.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest. I thought this is the thing, because we saw brilliances, for moments of brilliances, more or less every game that we saw in the first 7 or 8 games, and over the last couple of games, yes, it wasn't, let's say, the Szoboszlai in terms of on the ball, but you're 100% right. He is the guy that presses. The amount of times, he sets the press, the amount of times, the ground that he covers is unbelievable. When you actually, when at the ground, I don't know on TV, but you actually see everything. Yeah. And it's unbelievable what he actually brings to this side. And Sleepy Forest, look, I'm not going to go to town on him because we probably do expect a bit more brilliances in terms of his technical ability, because he's technically amazing from what we've seen, especially in this season. And we probably haven't seen it over the last couple of games. But don't be mistaken in terms of his performance. His performances has still been very, very good. But look, to say today in terms of I'm not going to sit here and say, he doesn't, Klopp's coached it out of him, no chance. We will see Dominic Szoboszlai, be a maverick, and that's the word that he's just used, maverick, a Leipzig. We will see the maverick. Maybe not every game, but we will definitely see that, especially in the future.
Yeah, and Sarib, you have to understand that he's come into a team that is still sort of structured towards the likes of Darwin and the likes of Mohamed Salah to finish off the attack. He has done unbelievably well to sort of stamp his authority and his take on the team. But like I said, especially against a side like Brentford, where you have to roll up your sleeves, put a shift in, And I thought, like Vicky says, there was a lesson in box-to-box midfield play. And these sort of performances go unnoticed. And the likes of Wijnaldum, the likes of even Henderson, putting those selfless performances week in, week out. I think you have to understand this guy has got the legs to do it, and we do need to cover, and we do need to match Brentford in terms of intensity at first. Because if you're not going to match them in intensity and work rate, then you're not going to create the moments like we did, for all the goals. And I was just a bit surprised. It wasn't really bad. I think Shimikas in previous weeks has got a lot more stick, and even Endo is getting.
I thought he was pretty good today, Shimikas, to be fair.
But I was happy for Shimikas today. I think with his 2 assists as well. And I thought Shimikas he always is going to have some, dopey moments defensively. He's always going to have that. But I think his delivery was very good today. And I thought he grew into the game. And because of his delivery, I thought it sort of brought some confidence in him. And that hug he got from Klopp, it was like really, it wasn't a hug. It was like a shake. And I think that you just need to wake this guy up. That I know he's not. I know he's probably not Liverpool standard, and he is. There's too much gulfing class between Robertson and Shimikas, in my opinion.
Who's going to be like that? Who's going to be?
And I think when he comes in, I don't think he needs to sort of have that pressure of he's replacing one of probably Liverpool's greatest defenders in their history. And so obviously, it acts like a bit of a burden on his shoulders at times. But again, maybe with some game time, some rhythm. But I thought his delivery, which has been absolute pants over the last couple of weeks, his delivery was good today. And we created our box moments against a team like Brentford. And if you're going to have a good delivery against Brentford, it doesn't matter how good you are in the air, you're going to trouble them. And I think Van Dijk's header, and there was a few other good moments as well. I thought the corners were decent and the free kicks were, in good areas as well. So I think he deserved a shout out today because I was happy for him. He's taken a lot of stick on this chart and on amongst his panel, but 2 assists today, so it can't be bad. I think that's everything, guys. Just over 1 hour. Are we still going to win the league? Are you believing? Do you want to jump on that bandwagon? I'm stopping for you once more.
Sarib, I'm waiting for Sarib to say a bit.
I'm stopping for once more. I'm at the bus stop, Sarib. Have you got a ticket?
What do you mean?
Are you jumping on?
Yes or no?
Are you jumping on?
Not saying anything. I got cooked enough today. I'm not getting.
We're waiting for the Man City game to finish.
Oh yeah. Then I can say no, definitely. But for now, my mouth closed.
We will do a challenge, man. I don't know about winning the league, but we will definitely 100% challenge, and inshallah we win it. So
do we win the league? Do we win the league if we beat City away?
We beat City away. We win the league.
Sarib, do you agree?
Annihilate them. We're winning the league then. What are you worried about?
Sarib, do you fancy getting clipped?
No, because we can go beat City away then lose.
No, we're not gonna. We're going on an 18 game. If we beat City, we're going on a mad one.
No, I know this team. Like we're basically unbeaten this season. That Tottenham loss. Every show I'm gonna come in here. That's still not important. I'm not gonna count that. I'm not gonna count that nonsense. But we have that to lose result in us. We do have that in us. We can go beat City away. We can go beat City away and then lose to Burnley 1-0 at Turf. Yeah. We have that.
No, don't say that. Don't say that.
We have that in us. We've seen it. That we have that in us, especially this new young Liverpool team. We have that in us. So Maramo Banda.
Yes or no for this question, Sarib? Do you think we signed Andre in January?
To be fair, I saw some reports saying that we are not in for him, but then I saw some reports saying we are in for him, that we're not in for him. So I don't know. Asked me this last week, I would have said yes. And
I'm asking you now.
Yeah. I'll go. I'll say yeah.
Gene?
I think we're not going to get him. I think we buy a 6, but not Andre.
João Palhinha.
There was a player someone asked for. I've never ever heard of him. Maybe you guys have heard of him. I think it was Jay. This lad.
Yeah, the Brazilian is a Brazilian centre back, I think, from the Brazilian league.
I've not seen the links.
Yeah, never seen him. Don't know who he is, but I will definitely YouTube him after this.
Lucas Beraldo.
We heard of that. Moby mentioned him.
Gene will act like Gene will act like a Lucas Beraldo expert next week.
We've been linked with that guy from Leeds as well. I forgot his name top of my head. That midfielder at Leeds.
Oh, that kid.
Yeah,
Apparently, he's a good player.
Yeah, come on, Leeds ain't like they're gonna bloody that's a contract thing, man. They just wants a new contract. Get Liverpool involved for the kid and he'll sign it.
Yeah.
Apparently, Josh tweeted something. Apparently, he said Liverpool. Fabrizio Romano confirms that we are in for that Leeds midfield player. So that'll be interesting to see if that's going to be one for the January or one for the summer. But I think this season I think it's going to be a busy January for the Reds, as it has been the last couple of years.
When did you become an ITK?
No, I'm not. This is not ITK. This is my opinion. No, don't click me on this. This is not transfer fees. This is my opinion. This is my
Okay. If we sign
Paulinho, I think we can win the league.
Paulinho, I think he's a brilliant player to have off the ball. Once we have it, I'm not so sure.
But if you've got enough players that are good enough to play us on the offensive, come on, you got 3 or 4 players, and you got.
We have the ball. We have the ball 60-70% of the time. Fulham don't. It's probably the opposite.
Yeah, fair play.
I just worry about his on the ball capabilities. I think we're in this sort of journey now where we're gonna probably. I'll be pleasantly surprised and happy if Thiago makes about 10 to 12 appearances, but I think we might just go in with this now. Bajcetic, Thiago, McAllister, Curtis to do a job, and we might look at this position properly in the summer when there's a few more
in January.
But does that win you the league?
I don't know. I think I still believe we will win the league.
If you look, and
I'm driving the wagon. I'm driving.
Asim said Liverpool. You said Liverpool's winning the league.
He's saying it for months,
man. I've been saying it for months. We're doing a mad one.
My biggest issue is if we know, like, and this is my issue, if we know we're that close and that, let's say, where January comes, where a point, let's say from winning let's say we're top of the table come January, and you feel as though there's a 6th, if we went and bought a proper 6th, where I think a lot where we can take, basically we can unlock.
Who's the proper 6, Gene?
I say there's players out there that if you really want to go and buy. I think there was about 5 or 6 before Lavia's. I don't want to go back into the summer because there were players available.
But what you need is, Gene, what I mean is like we need a proper 6. I get that, but it needs to be a type of 6 that comes straight into the team as well.
Gakpo came in, Diaz came in. There's players out there that when we sign in January, they come in and they make a difference. And this is the thing. I want us to make a difference. I want a player to come in that's going to make a difference. Look, if Andre is that guy, go on, Jay's my man. Go on, Jay, lad. Yeah.
You'll all be regretting it soon. Don't worry, we're doing a mad one.
Kibriya's funny, man. He goes, give me a name for a 6. Look, I'm not the British scout here, but we need one. So nobody can say to me, we don't need one. We do need one. Everybody knows we need one. So go and bloody sign one. If we're so close from winning, I would rather, take a hit on somebody to give us that lift. And we've got a decent
YouTube him as well. What's
his name? See that? Mohammed Saab.
Yeah, give him the name. He's on YouTube tonight. He's on the scout watch. He's on the player watch today. Next week, Gene, we want 5 players that Liverpool could sign in January.
All right, done. I give you 5.
Okay. Let's see if there's these proper 6s around in world football that we could get. And Decore shouldn't be on that list.
It's not going to be on that list.
That's fine. Sleepy Forest. I think if we keep on taking these questions, we'll be here all night. He says, Asim, what do you think about the notion that most of our goals come in transition? We want to be possession team but we don't score from it a lot. I don't think so. Today's goal, you probably can say it came in transition. We won the ball high up the field. The second goal, how was the second goal? Yeah, slightly in transition again. And third goal wasn't in transition, but it was fairly settled in the attack. But I think it's a mixture, Sleepy Forest, this year. I don't think that we're sort of just getting goals in transition. We have been so in terms of chances created, even last week, Luton, that was a massive, massive bust. If we checked our XG out, it's very, very good. We should have won the game by 3-4 goals.
Yeah.
So I think you shouldn't forget that how dangerous that we have been. We're the best in the world in terms of transition. I mentioned it a couple of months ago that we're trying to sort of, transition into a possession-based football. Maybe we haven't found the right balance yet, and you can see that in Klopp's coaching on the touchline on a weekly basis, where he's telling his players like Szoboszlai and Trent to pass it sideways, to not to go vertical. But that player is in them. That sort of trait is in the likes of Trent and McAllister. These guys are creators, and they see a pass, whether it's from 50 yards or 70 yards, because they have that pass. And how many times has Trent, in the last few weeks have been accused of these hospital balls? But you have to let these players express themselves as well, because they'll produce a magic moment that will win you the game. But in general sort of a sense, I think you have to let this team just sort of carry on his journey. It's only been about 2-3 months or about 15-16 games that we've been in terms of changing our system. So you have to let the team develop as well and adapt. And it's nowhere near the finished article at the moment. But that transition and that counterattack with the likes of Trent and Salah and Darwin will always be present, because these guys are unbelievable in transition. But it's going to take a bit of time to rein them in as well and have that controlled, possession-based football.
I think we sit here and say we're not the finished article, but if we go and win the league this season, the expectations for us will rise, which is why I think us winning the league this season could be a negative for us, because we aren't.
Winning the league is negative, man. We win the league.
What did he say?
Never a negative. We won the league.
You need to understand.
I knew I should have ended the show 5 minutes ago.
I did not say winning the league is a bad thing, is a negative for Liverpool Football Club, because winning the league for us fans will be beautiful. I think for the team, the squad of players we have available,
we win the league, we're going on a mad one, mate. That's it.
Fair enough. And I think it will be too early for us to win.
Yeah, no, not too early, man.
But early team.
Let's win it, then we'll think about it.
Yeah.
You said it, not me. You said we're winning. I did not say we're winning the league, man. Just get that in there.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for all the questions. Get your questions in, because we try to engage and get the chat involved as much as possible. It's always a lot more fun when the chat are involved, as tonight. To my guests, Sarib, Cheen, and to the absent one enjoying his Diwali with his family. Thank you very much for giving us your time as well. I do promise a lot more shows. We do on a weekly basis, but we're still producing one a week. We shouldn't be. We should be producing 2 or 3 a week. I'm looking at Cheen right now. Sarib, are you looking at Cheen?
Before you go, let's give a shout out to Cheen for all the good work he's been doing, and yourself.
100%.
All the good work Cheen's been doing for Palestine. Him and Ben, obviously, they had a BBC. Cheen, you're making us all very, very proud with all the hard work that you're doing for all the people that in Gaza. So from us, from everyone that's giving you all your well wishes, we appreciate everything that you do, because you're doing great work for us and for the people.
100%, man, 100%. And maybe, Gene, we can pin the link of that Just Giving page, the fundraising page, for people watching this show. If we can't do that, then head over to Gene's Twitter. I think it's a pinned tweet, isn't it? And if you can't donate, you're not in a position to, then please, it just takes a quick click to share all the stuff that Gene has been doing alongside a couple of other people. So thank you very much for that, Sarib. I'm well reminded, and you never know. We never know. Oh, he's back. He's back.
Guy.
Gene, I'm glad. I'm glad I saw that. I'm glad I saw that.
I didn't say anything.
Team for PM. You'd get a lot more votes than Suella Braverman. Okay, guys.
I'll start swearing her. Yes.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good weekend, and we're back. We'll try to do a few review shows because it's an international break now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't hold my breath for that. But you never know. You never know. Take care, guys. Have a good night, and we'll see you soon. Ta-ra.